Can Halloween do more than scare you? Hi, I'm Bernice Hunt, and I am a brain health specialist. I work with women just like you who are starting to notice a few memory challenges, and I help you to stay sharp so that as you age, you can still travel, have fun with your grandkids, and experience new adventures without missing a beat. As a wellness coach for over 12 years, I've talked a lot about toxins. And a lot of times we forget that toxins don't just involve food, although that's one of the primary sources of toxins. It involves more than just the area of food, because toxins can be absorbed into your skin and even inhaled through your nose. Okay, so those are other means of getting toxins into your body. Now, did you catch my last video? I had a video a few days ago about trick or trouble. We're talking specifically about Halloween and how there are toxins in the Halloween paraphernalia that we're used to purchasing that you may want to think twice about. But today, I'm going to get a little deeper. You can still find that video on my Facebook channel or, on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, Keep Your Brain Sharp. But today, I want to go a little deeper and talk about what some of those toxins are that are damaging to our brain, that are involved with that whole Halloween process, and also what alternatives we might have. Okay, so let's get started. So you're probably thinking, so what exactly should we be concerned about regarding Halloween? My answer to you is everything. I'm talking about the costumes. I'm talking about the Halloween mask. I'm even talking about the Halloween treat bags you put your candy in, Halloween decorations, the face paint that you put on or put on your kids. I'm talking about all of that is worthy of concern, because unfortunately the FDA has chosen not to monitor, not to regulate any of those things. Okay, they say that it's on the companies. The companies are the ones that are responsible for making sure that it's safe or whatever. And so, you can just imagine how far that's going. Okay, so they're not really regulating anything. But if you do see warning labels on costumes or masks or makeup or whatever, please take heed of the warning, because they're not going to be on everything. But if they give you a warning, it's a serious thing. Okay, so take heed of that if you see that. But they're not required to do that. They're not required to put the list the toxic ingredients that are in there. So you really need to be careful, because unfortunately in this day of convenience, there's a lot going on. So what toxins are we talking about? We're talking about plastics, soft plastic, vinyl plastics. We're talking about lead and mercury and asbestos. We're talking about all of the things, flame retardants. We're talking about those toxins. Now, some of them may be short or long-term, duration in terms of how long it's in your body or how serious it affects you. It can be minor, it can be major, it can be serious or not. There's a whole gamut of things. So the best thing to do is just to know and be aware of what can be in those things that you purchase, and to look at the labels as well. Okay, so we're going to get into that. All right, so most common in there, like I said, are the plastic and the phthalates and the flame retardants and the lead and the mercury and the arsenic. Yeah, guys, that's still going on. And that's not even talking about food necessarily. That's talking about the other stuff. Okay, so regarding costumes, I know that a lot of costumes are, popular, and the kids get really jazzed when they see their superheroes and all of that kind of stuff, and they're convenient, they're ready-made. You just got to go and take them off the rack and purchase them. So it's really tempting to get those costumes, and I get that. But those plastics that they're made of, and a lot of them are made of those vinyl plastics, are toxic to your brain. They call them neurotoxins, and you don't want them on your skin, absorbing into your skin, and you don't want what's called off-gassing. Off-gassing is when a certain material releases the gas into the air. Okay, and then guess what? You inhale it. And guys, I don't know if you know this, but they say that your nose is the window to your brain. Your nose has brain cell nerves in the roof of the nose. It's the neurons in the roof of your nose, and they have a direct connection to your brain. It has a direct connection to your brain. And so when you're inhaling things, it's going straight up to your brain. And that's where you can get what they call that leaky blood-brain barrier, which is similar to having a leaky gut, where things can start to get into your brain that have no business in there. And also it can trigger inflammation to start happening in your brain. Okay, so you don't want any of that going on, and that can happen when you are purchasing and wearing and inhaling those vinyl plastics that are in the costumes and the masks. They put chemicals on that plastic to either make it more pliable, make it softer, or make it harder. And when you're wearing it, you are inhaling that stuff. I saw one warning on one of the masks one time, and it said it was talking about not safe for kids to inhale, but it was a mask. Now, if you put the mask on, how are they not going to inhale the product if the mask is covering their face? I thought that was just rich that they even said that, but there was a warning on it. You also need to look at if they have an age range. Sometimes some of them say adult only, and that's what they mean, adult only, because we all know by now that there's greater damage done to our children than to the adults, just because of the size of our bodies, and also because their brain is still developing. Their whole body is still developing, and a lot of those chemicals are what they call hormone disruptors. So they're going to wreak havoc with your hormones. Okay, so you don't want any of those things going on. And regarding flame retardant, if it's store-bought, even if it's made out of cloth, it may well have flame retardant on. They even spray flame retardant on the Halloween bags and stuff, for safety purposes, I guess they say. But the flame retardant is made with a chemical that is toxic, and it's already been proven that it lowers your IQ. It gives you, increases your risk for developmental, behavioral, and attentional issues. It's not a good thing. And so what's the best practice with the costume? I know what I'm going to say. Make it yourself. Make it yourself, or get old clothes from out the closet or whatever, and create something, or use a cardboard box. Just go old school, guys. Go old school, a cardboard box or hard, stiff paper or something, and make a costume, or sew it up yourself, that kind of thing. Because if you're buying it from a store, you really, really, really have to be careful, and you definitely don't really want to buy vinyl. The other thing that I was thinking about when they were saying vinyl plastics is, individually, it's not good. But guess what? When you're having a party, and all those little kids or adults are running around with those costumes on, those masks on, there's off-gassing happening all in the room. And so they say that off-gassing, it can go on for months or more, and so it's going to last a while. So best practice with that is, if you're going to have a party and you're going to have all that dress up stuff going on, you may want to try to have it outside if you can, or have really good ventilation if you can. Vacuum really well afterwards, kind of thing, to get some of that off-gassing off. The off-gassing may or may not have a odor. Like when you get a new car, you'll have what they call the new car smell, and everyone's, ooh, my car still got the new. And some of us are really proud that the new car smell lasts as long as it lasts. That's off-gassing. That's toxic chemicals that your nose is actually smelling, and it has a direct link up to your brain. That's not a good thing. We think it's a good thing, but it's really not a good thing. That same kind of thing is happening with all the vinyl plastic and the masks and all those things. Okay, so I'll get off that. So that costumes or masks are one thing. Let's move on to our face paint and makeup. That's another thing. I know you already know with the cosmetic world that there's not a whole lot of restrictions on stuff, and the FDA kind of keeps their hands off and let them do what they want with their trade secrets and all that kind of stuff. Well, the same thing just about applies when you're talking about the face makeup they're using for kids or adults, and you're talking about the fake blood and all of that stuff. Make sure you're reading the labels, but just in general, know that a lot of times there's lead or mercury, or that with the talc, the powder that you use. They say it's very easy for that to be contaminated with asbestos. Okay, so you really want to be careful about that. And then once again, the best practice is to make it yourself, to make your own. There's a lot of different things. You can Google things and whatever. There's a lot of different vegetable ingredients that you can use for colors, for dyes and things. Even they show you how to make fake blood using natural ingredients, no chemicals and all that kind of stuff. So take some time to do that, because it's worth it for you and for your family. And you don't really want to get those, that mercury and that lead and all that going on, because guess what? It's accumulative. It accumulates. It's very small amounts, but it stays in your body for a long time, and it just accumulates until you may have issues that you may not have had if you weren't using those type of products. Okay, so stay away from the commercial face paint or makeup, especially putting makeup on children. It wasn't made to be put on children, okay? And the children's kind, you need to make sure that it's safe. You know, that it's vegetable ingredients or natural coloring, those kind of things, okay? Even in your paints, when you paint the master or the custom stuff, they can have toxins in them as well. And so you need to be careful with all of that, all right? So we're talking about the costumes and the masks. We talk about the face paint and stuff. We can move on to the decorations. And once again, the same thing applies. I mean, they're cutesy, they're fun, they're clever, they're convenient, you know, they're decorative. I understand all of that, but you really need to be careful and understand what they're made of. Once again, it's best to go back to the paper. Go back to your paper, guys, in terms of the treat bag, or make the party outside, and don't use a whole lot of all that stuff, because the off-gassing is going to have an effect as well. And in terms of the treat bags, they say, once again, go back to paper bags or pillows. Remember the days when we used to put our candy in pillowcases? Yeah. What's wrong with that? And the kids can even draw on the pillowcases and make whatever they want to make, if that's what they want to do. But go back to that, because at least you know it's safe and it's not toxic for the children, okay? And then lastly, of course, we need to talk about food. We need to talk about food because, you know, food and health and our household and beauty care products are two of the primary sources for toxins. Yeah, and a lot of them are neurotoxins. They're brain toxins. They are damaging to your brain. And so that hasn't changed. And I know that we have some traditional Halloween candies and things that are out there and whatever, but you may want to rethink some of that. And when you're having your parties and stuff, you may want to rethink all of that and try to get healthier options. Fortunately, out there now, they're starting to make healthier options for different treats and stuff. So just spend some time and Google it and see what's out there, or make it yourself, because you can make a much healthier option than a lot of the things that are out there. Because you want to stay away from all that sugar. You want to stay away from all those preservatives. You want to stay away from all those additives, you know, all of those things. And of course, the pesticides and all the things that are in things that are not organic. So when you possibly can, if you can buy your things that are made from organic products, that would be really, really, really helpful. Also, they say that people that eat organic foods reduce their exposure to the pesticides and all those toxins by 80 to 90%. That's a whole lot. 80 to 90%. And so that's worth it to me, to at least do what you can to reduce those toxins and buy organic, or do it whenever that you can. Okay, so if you want a list of safe tips for Halloween, I have that. It's on my in my resource library on my website, keepyourbrainsharp.com. This is video number 186. I offer it or you can go also on video 185 for that same Halloween tips, okay, for a safer Halloween, because your brain's destiny is in your hands.